Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 7 minutes past the hour on this second day of October. How are you doing out there, family? And the government is still shut down. Yours truly, Joe Dupree in the building. Hashtag truth be told slash JD Live. Your early morning get up, wake up, wake up. Some information, motivation, inspiration, your conversation that promotes elevation. And I'm in the building, family. I am in the building, bright and early in the morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see people jumping on Instagram. I see them jumping on Facebook Live. I see them jumping on Twitter X. We're at the JDMS on YouTube. We're at 100 BLK Media, and we are live, baby. We live, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are live and in full effect. Woo! Turn up Thursday. Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Eventually, that's what they said in the government. We turned up. We shut it down. Yeah. So a lot of folks are working but not getting paid today. If you're a government employee, I know you're out there worried. And I have nothing but thoughts, and I'm praying for you because some of you after this shutdown won't have a job because our president had made it crystal clear. Let's use the shutdown to do what I wanted to do anyway. There are certain jobs I don't think are necessary for this country to function. I think it's waste. I think it's dead wood. I think it's fraud. So what we're going to do during the shutdown is if we shut you down, you may be shut down permanently. That part. Keep telling y'all to pay attention. I keep telling y'all, please pay attention. And I say that for a reason, because you need to pay attention. Pay attention. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody who's logging in. Gervis Williams, good morning to you, my brother. And Jewel Walls, good morning to you, my sister. To all the people who's logged in on Instagram and on, I see that YouTube is popping this morning. Good morning to y'all also. Well, family, we all got to pay attention. Pay attention. Not only do we need to pay attention, we need to be careful. Careful. Careful out there on them real streets. I tell people all the time, be careful on them social media streets, but definitely be careful out there on the real street. Um, I'm like Rodney King right now. I don't know why some of us cannot just get along. As I look at statistics across the nation, that's not only in black and brown communities, but those are the communities I am concerned about the most because those are the communities that have people that look like myself in it. I see that, we still haven't learned how to do proper conflict resolution. Start asking your friends, your neighbors, your family members, are you okay? Because they're not talking about it, but suicide is on the rise, especially in black and brown communities. So start asking folks. I know you look okay. No, it seems like you're okay. But are you okay? Because that's the question that needs to be asked of many. Are you okay? Is everything all right? Are you okay? Need to make sure that you're all right. You need to start asking those questions of friends and family members. Are you all right? Are you okay? And if they're not okay, tell them it's okay not to be okay. What's not okay is to think that you're in it by yourself to the point that you may want to take your own life. We can ask the uncomfortable question, are you okay? And we can be a wedge or a person that stands in the gap to help people kind of work out whatever it is they need to work out where they don't take their life senselessly. I know it's rough out here, y'all. Yeah, I come on here and I make jokes about it in a very condescending way sometimes. But I understand that when you go to the grocery store, you say, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this?" I know sometimes when you look at your car note and your house note and you look at your utility bills, you say, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this?" And then when you look at other things you have to do for your children or your grandchildren or those around you that you love, you say, "Oh my God, how am I going this?" But never let the weight get so heavy that you feel like my best option is to no longer be living. Because this life that you were given is precious. It's precious and should be valued. I have a simple saying wrote down that I look at least once a week. And I have to remind myself that at my best, somebody is happy that they're not me. And at my worst, there's somebody who wish they could be me. All I can do is be me and be thankful for what I have been given, this life, this time, this space that I have been given under the gift. I have friends who work for the FAA, very good friends. I know that they are working diligently every day to make sure that the skies are safe, though they're not getting a check. I am ex-military. I have buku friends who are in the military. I have a son that is in the military who is working right now, serving this country, protecting my interests, who is not getting paid. I asked the question and I want you to Google it because I'm not going to answer the question because it seems to be nobody's talking about that. Is Congress, is the Senate, is the president, are the three branches of government, are they still getting a check since the government is shut down? Mm. Understand after two jets, which is in the news, collided on a NYC taxiway, there's an investigation going on. So the question is, do you get what you paid for? And the reason I brought that up is the government is shut down. So, people are talking about the situation that occurred with the planes that collided to each other at LaGuardia. One flight attendant had minor injuries, no impact to airport operations, but this did happen. Once again, family, 16 minutes past the hour. 16 minutes past the hour. Government is shut down. And the blame game is in full effect. And I'm still a little bit lost with the blame game. Maybe I'm not the most smartest person on the planet, but I'm a little bit lost in this blame game. Because the last time I was told, I remember we had an election. Y'all recall that? We had an election where a person said, I won by a landslide. I won the popular vote. I won the congressional college. I won. Convincingly, I won. That means I am the president of choice. I am the people's choice. The people chose me. Not only did they choose me, they chose a Republican House because the House majority belongs to the Republican. The Senate belongs to the Republican. So if you are in charge of everything, how can it be somebody else's fault that we're shut down? This government shutdown will be a purging of the Department of Justice because the Department of Justice is a federal government agency. And now that we have shut down the government, I'm pretty sure the first folks Trump will make sure President Trump do not want to disrespect him. He is the president. the first federal agency up on this shutdown that needs to have some cleaning, in his opinion, I'm sure will be DOJ, the FBI, CIA, NSA, and everybody who has always tried to be the balance of saying, yes, this is what you said, but this is what the truth is, or this is what our truth is. Because once again, it's their truth, your truth, and somewhere in the middle is the real truth. I'm pretty sure they're going to use this to clean out the CDC because, of course, the CDC director, Mr. Kennedy, doesn't believe half the vaccinations even work or half the science is real science because he believes in moon stars and quasars. I'm sorry, I said it. Sorry, Mr. Secretary. And if there's so much concern about our health, why are we not talking about the late, great Dr. Sebi, who seemed to have had remedies to resolve a lot of our ailments and issues, but they all said he was a quack. But y'all not calling Robert F. Kennedy a quack. He's actually the director of the CDC. See, once again, it goes back to what I always said, and it is 19 minutes past the hour. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told, JD Live, your early morning get up, wake up. Cup of Joe in the morning. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do. Cool when they do. Absolutely all right when they do. We've got to understand and take advantage of everything that is put before us that we can rise and be all we can be. When we are unfortunately put into government housing, we need to understand that government housing should be temporary government housing. It should be a time and a season that we are put into a place where we can save up enough money not to make government housing permanent housing. Not to set the example that we should live in government housing for 4, 5, 6 generations. Government housing, when the unfortunate use of you having to be in government housing because you fell on hard times or your income is not meeting the standard that is needed, that should be a time. If you got $25 a month rent, you should save up enough money to buy your own house one day. $25 rent should not be a permanent solution. It was only supposed to be temporarily you there for a season. I am tired of going to public housing, seeing mama, grandma, great grandma all in the same house. And I'm not trying to down anybody. I'm trying to say, if you're saving that much money and you're on that much government assistance, you should have somewhere enough money where you can get your own. Ain't nothing like owning your own. I understand being able to pay $25 a month and have all this other money to do whatever it is that you want to do with it. You know, I understand that I understand that if you live in government housing, paying $25 a month and that gives you enough money to buy you a brand new SUV or a brand new luxury car, but that's not the goal. That's not the goal, family. The goal is to have enough money to get your own house and property. Because guess what? If you do that and you have some financial understanding, the nice SUV and the luxury car can come a little bit later. And you still own your own. I'm not even going to say we got to do better. 22 minutes past the hour. We'll be coming up with sports at the bottom of the hour. Here we're going to talk about this best of three with Boston and the Yankees. The Yankees break the tie, force a game 3. Gonna be talking about all of that, family. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see y'all logging in. Thank you for logging in. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for waking up with me this morning. The early morning wake up crew. Life be lifing. Every morning, this is hashtag Truth Be Told JD Live. I'm in the building, family, Monday through Friday for 1 hour. For 1 hour. At the bottom of the hour, we will have sports. Gonna talk probably a little baseball, a little football. Football season is in full effect, collegiately and professionally. Right now, we're going through what I call homecoming season in football. From now until probably the first week or the second week in November, everybody's coming home. We're getting ready for homecoming in about a couple of weeks at Southern University. I think Grambling State homecoming is before Southern. I need to check and see. I got to find out when is all the HBC homecomings. Y'all just stay locked into my page. I'm going to post that when all the homecomings are going to be. It is 24 minutes past the hour. And though we're not really talking about it a lot, and even on the news, they're not talking about it in the news cycle like I think they should, the government is shut down. I promise you, when the government goes back doing business as normal or gets back up on its feet and the shutdown is over, there will be a lot of people at DOJ who don't have a job, will not be coming back to a job because that job will be dissolved. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people at the CDC. There's going to be a lot of government agencies that had individuals working at those government agencies that will no longer be there. And with this massive trying to convince everybody that a lot of folks got their job just because they're black and brown or a woman, not because they were qualified. It's all of a sudden, let me justify to you why they got the job and you didn't. It's not that they were qualified, it's DEI. That is what the propaganda machine is trying to push and still push to a lot of folks. That the reason a lot of folks do not have the job that they thought they should have had was not because they weren't qualified, is that the color of their skin wasn't the right hue. And at that time, there was a quota that needed to be met of individuals who looked a certain way, and they really didn't care about the qualifications. All they cared about is the way you looked to fit into that position. And let me say something, that's really not the narrative. Because you have to understand, if the color of your skin was that important, understand, and I go back to it again, and it wasn't that long ago. It was just 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s and some parts of the 70s. It was very simple. If you were black, stay back. If you were brown, you could stick around. But if you were white, you were all right, because many jobs outside of working in the farm or doing some low wage job of cleaning people's houses, even the ability to go to higher education institutions. You got to understand, in the 60s, you couldn't go to certain school. In the 50s, you couldn't go to the Alabamas, the LSUs. You couldn't go to the Floridas. You couldn't go to these schools that now are inundated with black and brown athletes that literally make their programs what their programs are. You could not go to these schools. Cool when they do it. The problem when we do it. And family, as much as I come on here and talk about the issues of our days and what's going on, my biggest pet peeve is we can't get along with one another. I'm just going to sit right there for a minute. The saddest thing to me is we can't talk cordially to one another. We can't sit down and call a conference with one another privately and resolve our issues behind closed doors. We got to go on social media. We got to be out in public. We've got to be trashing and bashing and going at the ones of us who are at least trying to do something. That's why I don't say anything negative about Black leaders unless I have personally spoke to that Black leader directly. Now, if I came at you directly and said, hey, brother, sister, we need to sit down, let's talk, and we've had a conversation and we agreed to disagree, I will let you know. Understand the same conversation I didn't have with you privately. There will be some things that will stay private, but publicly, I will let people know I don't agree with you or I agree with the stance that you are taking on this situation, because in my opinion, it is hurting us as a people. But at least you can't say before I did that, I did not meet with you privately and tried to hash this thing out and tried to discuss this, or at least try to get you to make me see it from the point of view that you're seeing it, and me saying my point of view where we can maybe come to an agreement that I need to cut a little fat off, you need to cut a little fat off, and we need to meet somewhere in the middle, and we need to come out with a message that is better for folks who support you and for folks who support me. Compromise is not a bad word. And guess what? Some win is better than no win at all. Some of y'all have literally sold your soul to folks where you can look a certain way in public and on social media. I just won't do that. I cannot, shall not, and never will do that. Sold your soul. Oh, you got kente cloth on and you're out in public looking like you all for the struggle. But the truth about it is, you a Black Judas. You are a Black Judas. Sitting amongst our best and our leaders and running back and telling the enemy our game plan and selling out our leaders for a few shillings of gold or silver or cryptocurrency or a seat at the table. See, that's why I don't need a seat at your table. Your table was bought by selling out your own people. And I'm not trying to sit at a Benedict Arnold's table, especially a Black Benedict Arnold. I'd rather ride out and be solo bolo Django and have you laugh at me, talk about what I did or what I didn't do, before I play this game that y'all play. Because the game that y'all play is real simple. Y'all are Black Judases, y'all are Black Benedict Arnolds, y'all are Black traitors. And I don't care how much kente cloth you wear. I don't care how many times you show up talking about, you know me, I'm in the hood. Okay. And in places that most of us can't see, you're behind closed doors with the enemy and have convinced the enemy that you are the spokesperson for all of us Black folks. When the truth about it is, you only did that for self-gain. You didn't do that for the betterment of your community. You did that to make your pockets be right. As a good friend of mine said yesterday, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. So as we go through this government shutdown, we see the back and forth of the banners of GOP blaming the Dems blaming the GOP. Sir, ma'am, in Congress and in this. Are y'all still getting y'all check? Because if the government is shut down, I believe the first people who shouldn't get a check is the people who cannot get the government up and running. That's my humble opinion. That's my humble opinion. If you can't get the government up and running, you shouldn't be getting a check. But it's funny how everybody who works for the government is not getting a check except the people who cannot come to an agreement of how to pay everybody who's working for the government. Because I promise you, congressman, congresswoman, senator, and the president, along with the Supreme Court, I promise you, they still getting their check. But once again, 33 minutes past the hour, the government shut down. Pay attention, family. That's all I can tell you. Pay attention. All I can tell you. Please pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. You've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. You know, until okay. So this is actually JD Live today. My guy in sports will be back tomorrow. Got a lot of work to do. It is that season. I'm not going to stay up in here too much longer. I just want to tell all of y'all that, we've got to start paying attention. My good brother Edward Brown is in the building. Listen, mental health matters. My good friend Gilbert Anderson's in the building. Mental health matters. Your mental health matters. And I want to tell y'all on my way out, because I'm going to leave a little early this morning. I've got a lot to do. But I wake up every morning trying to encourage you to have a great day, to let yesterday be yesterday. Understand what's coming tomorrow. You really don't know. All you got is right here and right now. And you need to be, as Alethea Crimmins says when she comes on here, you need to be great in your own face. You need to be great in your own face. And great in their face too. Haters will be haters, and there's nothing you can do about it. There are some folks who just don't like you because they just don't like you. And there is no explanation why they don't like you. And you waste too much time giving their not liking of you your attention. Let them be who they are and leave them over there. 36 minutes past the hour. Please understand that this government shutdown will affect a lot of folks. It will trickle down. There are a lot of projects that are being funded by government money right now in your state. There's everything from SNAP benefits, housing benefits, Medicare, Medicaid benefits. Those are all government programs that have government funding. Right now, the government is shut down. Oh, everybody's high keying until they go to get their SNAP benefits and say, why is there nothing on my EBT card? Government is shut down. Elections have consequences. And I've been telling y'all to pay attention. And for all my Black evangelicals out there who've been saying, you know what, praise the Lord, blessed us with Donald J. Trump. Understand. And, and I need to get into this, but I'm going to get my resident expert from a few Essence music festivals back that I met, and we have been having great conversations via phone, via text, via email. I want y'all to understand just how much money the black church be making. Understand that if your black church is structured the way it should be structured, and most black churches, especially big black churches, are structured this way, you are protected. Not only black churches, but white churches that have a lot of black parishioners. I want you to understand how much the pastor, the staff, the church, because all of the stuff connected with the church is literally tax-free. Tax-free. While you're paying taxes, while you're giving tithes and offerings, most, if they are structured correctly, and most are tax-free. They don't have to worry about FICA and all that stuff that you and I worry about when we look at our checks when we are working a regular W-2 job. Because churches are the pastor's salary is not taxable. The building itself, the grounds, is not taxable. And that's why I really want to talk about this new thing, which I call the new banks that are not regulated by the FDIC, the churches. But y'all don't want to have that conversation. And the moment I start having it, folks start whispering in the background, and then I start getting inboxes and phone calls about you need to be careful. No, I don't need to be careful. The truth never needs to be careful. The truth never needs to be careful. For it is what it is, regardless if I say it or if somebody else says it. You need to start looking at why some of these organizations consider themselves religious organizations or 501c3s. And then you need to start asking, well, if I'm a CEO of a 501c3 and it's a multi-million or a multi-billion dollar 501c3, what about the CEO? What about his staff or her staff? Or what about the officers? What do they get paid? Or do they get paid? Y'all got to start paying attention, because there are folks out there convincing you that your hard-earned money could be sold into helping other folk read this for yourself. Read this for yourself. Please read this for yourself. I have folks that are upset with me right now because I have been spiritually enlightened to understand that I ain't going. Everybody's not like this. I'm not putting everybody into the same category. Just like I don't like it when they say black and brown kids are born to be criminals. Not some. But when the president says black and brown, he means all. I'm not saying all, but there are a lot of commercialized churches. All y'all are is a fashion show, a car show. Who got a bigger, better house than the next show? I just can't. I don't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Period. Y'all got to pay attention. Y'all got to pay attention. And the reason right now we're in such a mess is because folk are not paying attention. Because both sides are messed up. One side wants to be a complete dictatorship, and the other side comes up with some of the most asinine stuff I've ever seen before in my life. When it comes down to the two political parties that we have in the United States of America, and yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. In my opinion, yes, I said it. One side is literally wanting us to go back to the 1800s. The 1800s. And black and brown folks, I can tell you where we were at in the 1800s. Some of us was doing all right. Some of us were free men and free women. The majority of us was not doing well at all in the 1800s. Not in this country. The other side comes up with some of the most asinine stuff I've ever seen in my life. Yes, yes, yes. The Republicans, most Republicans and conservatives wants us to go back to the 1800s, in my opinion. Most progressives and Democrats, y'all say some of the most dumb stuff I've ever heard in my life. I personally do not want to see my daughter in the bathroom with a person who is a man but identifies as a woman. I do not need a man in my daughter's bathroom with his penis out using the bathroom with my daughter when he identifies. I don't identify as a man. If that's what he says, I don't identify as a man. I identify as a woman, and I should be able to use the woman's bathroom. No, you shouldn't, in my opinion. But the Dems will stand there and say, oh, that's okay. That's fine. No, it's not. Then y'all want to know why folks ain't rocking with y'all. That's not okay, in my opinion. Both sides are totally effed up, in my opinion. Hell, if I ain't going back to the plantation, I got to deal with all this dumb shit. That at the end of the day, I don't agree with it. That don't mean it needs to be forced upon me. If you want to do that, stay over there. That's what I've been waiting for the Dems to say. Look, hey, we're not against it. But guess what? If you're not for it, we're not trying to force it down your throats. But the other side does the same thing. They just do it differently because they come up with words that they say, yo, ignorant ass don't know what the meaning of this word is. For years, the Republican Party has said we are the party of low taxes and small government. Tell me if what you're looking at right now is low taxes and small government. And if you tell me it is, that lets me know that you yourself are not educated enough to see what's going on in your face. Because a tariff is a tax. Once again, I dropped out of school in pre-K. My body was just, my mind, I dropped out in pre-K. And this is coming from a pre-K dropout. Oh, the tariffs are great. Now, I don't like taxes, but the tariffs are great. The tariffs will make us great again. But I can't stand taxes. A tariff is a tax. Coming from your residential pre-K dropout. Look at how, and I pay close attention to this. Look at how all of a sudden they are beginning to change the social media space because they realize these influencers have power. And I'm telling you, legislation is coming. Meta has already begun making certain changes. Those changes will trickle down to the other social media platforms from TikTok to YouTube because they see now those who have the ears of the public. Those are the people who can change the tide. It was said in Gladiator, he that rules the Colosseum rules Rome. Pay attention, family. 13 minutes to the top of the hour. Pay attention to these AI things that are out there. We have the president of the United States who is sharing on his Truth Social and on his own social media platform AI generated content that is completely false. But a lot of folks are not paying attention and they say, well, I saw Chuck Schumer say such. That wasn't Chuck Schumer. That was an AI generated, which looked almost like, if not completely like, and could fool the average bear. Family, y'all got to pay attention. Pay attention what you allow to come into your eye gates, your ear gates. Pay attention what comes out your mouth. And sometimes be very honest with people in your opinion and understand you need to quantify where you got your opinion from. Because guess what? Many of us are not educated enough to argue certain things. I'm in a class right now that my professor told my tail up a couple of days ago. Because he told me something that I needed to hear. You, sir, have in all your years of life never been told the truth. And because you don't know the truth, you utter out your mouth what you know, which what you know is not the truth. We had a humongous debate about Jimmy Kimball. And then when he read the law, explained the law, and let me know exactly what the law meant, he said, "Now what is your argument?" I said, Sir, I have none." He said, "You had none from the beginning." Because many of you don't even, y'all hear what the Facebook preachers say. You hear what the Facebook lawyers say, the Facebook doctor say, the Facebook psychologist says. I've got a very good clinical counselor on the line right now. Y'all won't go to him, but y'all listen to these Facebook counselors that ain't got no paperwork, don't know nothing. They self-proclaimed, have no formal training behind them, and you believe everything they say. That's why a lot of us, when we go up against the law, we lose. Because you don't know the law. You know Facebook law. You know social media law. You don't know the law. Jimmy Kimball worked for a private entity. Private entities have their own rules. That's why if you work for a private entity, you should ask the first thing, excuse me, do we have a handbook here that states the rules and the regulations that governs this entity while I am working at this entity? Do you have an employee handbook that tells me what I can and cannot do? And if they tell you they don't, and you choose by your own free will to work for them, you're working at your own risk. Because now it becomes he said, she said. See, that's my problem with a lot of y'all. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Yeah, it sounds good, but did you read it for yourself? Because guess what? What I might be saying might not be in this book. You do understand that this is the same book that was used to contain, control, and calm our little tails down during slavery. See, you got to understand how loosely folks use that word Christian. There were Christian slave owners because God told them. God told them to own the slave. Oh, y'all gonna get it. So one day, y'all gonna wake up and get it. I read it for myself. Oh, I done got a few inboxes, a few phone calls. We ain't seen you, no, and you won't. And if you do, it's because I chose to come and sit down and ask myself, is what I read myself matching up with what you saying up there? Because if it ain't, why would I go somewhere where I'm like, I didn't read that? That's not what it said. Y'all need to read about read and hear what it says about tithes and offerings in the full context. Just saying. Just saying. It is 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Back in the news, black Twitter news. Oh, they're getting ready to sentence P. Diddy. Oh, we talking about that though. Forget the government shutdown. Did you hear what they're gonna do to Diddy? Uh, Y'all are too easily distracted. Too easily distracted. We are getting to a place in this country. It's not a black or white thing. It is a have and have not. Listen carefully to what I'm about to say. 7 minutes to the top of the hour as I get ready to get out of here. The next evolution of struggle and classism and division will have little to do with the color of your skin and a great deal to do with the resources that are available. Squandering fresh water, squandering quality produce, squandering resources such as the air we breathe. Oh, the next conflict will have a lot to do with those who have and those who have not. That's why you have to have your own. You cannot be so dependent on government that a government shutdown, this government shutdown means that if you are getting a government check of any type or government assistance of any type, that assistance that you are depending on to do whatever it needs to do, help is not on the way until the government is not shut down anymore, until the government is back at work. Because right now, those EBT cards will not work. Those subsidies that you're waiting for a subsidized check from the government will not be coming. If it is a federally funded program, the government, my friends, are shut down. And those federally funded programs are not being funded at the present moment. So if you're expecting anything from the government, you're not getting anything, nothing. There are people going to work today, TSA agents, FAA air traffic controllers. There are people in our military that are going to work today. They are not getting paid today. Oh, you don't pay attention until it affects you. So for those of you who are getting any type of government assistance and you're waiting for those government checks, those checks are not coming. For the government shut down. I need to calmly say it, and I'll say it again to the best of my ability. I want y'all to really tell me, do y'all feel like y'all better off today than you were 3 years ago? And the last time the government shut down was 7 years ago. Please, the next time you get a chance to talk to Google or Siri or Alexa, ask Alexa or ask Google or Siri, who was the president 7 years ago when the government shut down? Since it's always those horrible, terrible, terrible Democrats that are always up to their dastardly mess. Just Google that. Google that for me. Please. Use your smartphone and ask it that question. Who was the president the last time the government shut down? Message. All right, family, time for me to get up out of here. 1 hour of hopefully conversation that gave elevation. I'm not here to tell you how to think or what to think, but I am here to tell you use that thing between them two ears and behind them eyes and begin to think. To everybody who logged in this morning, I really appreciate you. Tomorrow is Freedom and Fun Friday. Freedom and Fun Friday. He that the sun sets free is free indeed. Stop taking folks' word on stuff and read it for yourself. If we learned anything today, and pay attention. Pay attention. All right, family, it's time for me to get up out of here. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed, great day. I got the youngest of my brew is getting his Letterman jacket today, and Papa Bear gonna be in the building. As I see one of my young cubs become to develop into a lion. Kai Malik, I'm on my way to you, brother. Family, as I get ready to get up out of here, let me say what I always say. Hey, be better today. Be better today than you were yesterday. And do something today to bless somebody somewhere that no matter what you do, there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back. And always keep this in your mind. Always put this in your heart. Let this resonate in your spirit that there is no secret what my God can. What he has done for others, deserving or not deserving, he will and he can do for you. But when my God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Be blessed. Have a great day. It is Friday, Junior. Tomorrow is the beginning of the weekend, baby. Lord say the same. I'll catch y'all at the same time tomorrow morning. Y'all be blessed. Have a great day. I'm up out of here. Peace.